for. So now we'll go ahead and go through the niyamas. So the niyamas tend to be what you can do and what you should do, what's recommended. The niyamas tend to be more self-observations. You can relate them to outside people, but they typically apply more for you in your body. So the first is socha, being clean. So being clean in yogic philosophy has a lot of components actually to it, from your neti pot, clearing your sinuses, your nasal passageways, to obviously your body, your skin, your hair, bathing. It seems like, well, obviously I bathe, but you'd be surprised that so much of yoga is set up where you sweat and you shower after. You know what? I've done this. I'm guilty. I've been to that class where I showered after. It was early in the morning. I didn't have time to go home. But I can tell you that if you shower before your yoga practice or take a bath, your mind feels a certain freshness and an emptiness. And if your environment is also very clean, it just is that much more refreshing, renewing, holistic, and healing in your life. So, no need to be too critical and harsh, judge yourself, but at the same time, it's really important, the cleanliness aspect, from the healing, you're free of dust wherever you practice. And these things seem so basic, but even I'm right outside New York City, and it's shocking how many environments don't adhere to these things. A dust-free environment, a clean environment, even the visuals. You're not just ingesting the postures and the movements and the voice of your teachers. The visual things in your environment will feed into your conscious space too. So socha is just the overall cleanliness of internal organs, the inside of your lungs through breathing techniques, digestive tract through asana practice and other cleaning techniques, as well as the external environment being clean. Very important one. Santosha is being content. So being content is a pretty straightforward one. One of my teachers in Ayurveda, Dr. Vasant Lad, he recommended taking every day and meditating upon what makes you happy, what you're thankful for. So this is a really wonderful way to start to reprogram your mind, to start to, instead of resonating on what you didn't get and what didn't happen for you, is try to vibrate on what did happen, what was successful for you, what brought you joy or contentment or gratification in any way. And if it doesn't happen daily, or it's something really small, like, I don't know, they made your beverage just right where you like to have it, whatever beverage that may be, maybe that's your note for the day. Try to create that discipline and that practice. If you already have it, that's incredible. And if you don't, santosha is just the gratitude and thankfulness. Relating this to yourself is the same. This is an exercise I do every week with students. It's a simple meditation where you come up with 3 characteristics of yourself that you wouldn't change, that you appreciate. And, sadly, a lot of times I focus this for women on their bodies and being content with what they have instead of wanting some different version of it. So it's a challenging thing to be content with who you are, how you are, what you look, what you're capable of doing, what you've done already, and also what is handed to you. So whatever's in that deck of cards, we all get dealt some not so powerful cards and some powerful cards, etc. Just find the parts that you're most appreciative of, that serve you the best, and try it as much as possible to reaffirm that you're thankful for what's been created for you, that's helped you, that's positive in your life. So that would be santosha. So tapas is another one of those controversial ones within the yoga context of the niyamas. So tapas just simply means to generate heat. It's also understood as discipline. Some people have translated it to be something more like, discipline in terms of celibacy and things like that. I do not adhere to this definition whatsoever. I think it's a major misunderstanding. Tapas, I take it very simple form, which is the discipline to generate enough heat to where you're on the verge of sweat in your practice. And that's one of your internal purifications of your body. While I'm really flattered that so many people, especially recently, keep coming to me and asking me for stretch classes. Can you teach me how to stretch? I'm like, yeah, of course I can teach you how to stretch. But really, at the end of the day, when you do yoga with the real potency that it has, you're really wringing out your organs too, and you're creating that toxic sweat that's coming out of you. And this idea of tapas and generating heat, that your hands are warm and they're filled with prana and life force and pran shakti, this is a sign of a guru too. When you're around a teacher who's really practicing, is typically their vitals are very balanced, and you can come up and literally feel their heat coming through their hands in particular. So tapas, in my understanding, is that which will consistently generate heat. A slightly more subtle definition of tapas, well, not subtle, but tapas can also be a discipline that you take. So for example, if you don't practice yoga with asana, maybe your yoga is karma yoga, and we'll get into the different paths of yoga in a different lecture. But if you do an action repeatedly every day, so say, something simple. I used to work at this coffee shop, and we'd have, a few bags or loaves of bread that were left over that we'd have to throw out because it was fresh baked every day. And there was this little, time where I tried to get into the habit of taking those loaves of bread and connecting them to somebody who would give them to a place that was in need of food that had, less loaves of bread for the people that would go there. So that could be a disciplined action that you repeat every day, and it's a type of tapas as well. But the more, common or Sanskrit based would be the heat generation. But, there's a little room for interpretation there for what tapas is, but I would definitely err towards the detoxification and the heat generation internally. So svadhyaya is to study by yourself. So svadhyaya can have two meanings: to study anything. However old you are, wherever you are in this world, learn something new every day, whatever is of interest to you. If you're into botany, read a book, watch a video. If you're into something experiential, you play hockey, go out there and perfect your skating, perfect your precision passing. Whatever you're interested in, continue to study. The other is studying yourself. So we're growing, organic, evolving humans that constantly need some revisiting of who we are, what our place is in this world, what's our duties. So that's svadhyaya of you. Svadhyaya is also the study of the yogic texts, because I've been a student for many years, many decades. Okay, 2.5 decades. There, I said it. So it's been a long time that I've been a student of yoga, and trust me, I still have so much to learn. It's incredible, the wealth of knowledge that exists out there. So as you progress being a yoga student, becoming familiarized with Ashtanga, the paths and the steps of yoga, and you start to embrace the yamas and the niyamas, remember that this doesn't end. It's a life commitment and dedication. You can certainly limit how much time you study certain years, or if you have pulls in your life, somebody's not well, it's not a hard and fast, well, you didn't do that daily, so now you start over again. It's just that you need to keep up your mind's sharpness. The tools have to stay sharp, so you have to keep feeding it with new education materials. So being a student is really important aspect of being a good teacher, good guru. One of my gurus always says that I'm no guru, I'm just a student. I'm a disciple myself. Of course, he's probably has like a million people who are his disciples, but it's funny because he's in his early 90s. He's still at that point where he's still learning, and that's something to aspire to continue, is keep that humility level up, because there's always going to be a few more places to climb, no matter how much you learn, and be confident and accepting that that's how this practice is. There's always something to improve upon, and be happy for what you have achieved. So the last of the niyamas is Ishvar Prani Dhyana. Ishvar Prani Dhyana, so going into the word Ishvar, very controversial word in Sanskrit philosophy. So Ishvara can be understood as the name for the primordial Godhead, God figure rather, Shiva. Can also just be understood as base energy, like ether or space or matter and air around us. So pranidhyana is, prana is the life force again that permeates all beings, all living matter, including trees and microcells and everything that's out there. Dhyana is just that focused awareness, that attention into. I know it's a lot of context for this last one. Of course, they save this one for the end. But a very simple way is just thinking of it as surrender. But often if I say Ishwar Pranidhyana, it just means to let go. Whether it's let go and let God, let go and let your favorite author in a book, or let go and let mom, or whatever you're surrendering to, your guru, your teacher. There's aspects of fate that none of us control. Even the best of us, disciplined, fair, contributing in society in different ways, undoubtedly some experience is going to come up sooner or later that will challenge each of us. And Ishvara Pranidhyana is just like, look at the signs, read the signs. So many times in my past, there were very clear things like huge stop signs in my way, like horrible weather. These are some physical outward signs. Or I'd take something on and I'd have like this knotted feeling in my stomach that was like, I don't know if this is right for me. And there would be times where I just ignore them. But Ishvara Pranidhyana is whatever the spirit self is to you. If it's God or if it's nature, ether, Shiva, yoga isn't about putting things into these tiny little boxes the way that a lot of modern, I think, psychotherapy can be, or a lot of religions love to do this. It's like, name it what it is for you, but just know that it's a universal thing. And then secondly is go into it. Let go into it. Just surrender it out. Now, surrender and blind faith are not the same thing. So keep your mind alert. You do you. If you are a skeptic, sorry about that, then be a skeptic. if you're very devotional and you're all spirit and you're like, yeah, I'm fine surrendering whatever comes out there, but you have to keep a balance of seeing symbols, seeing the perceived world, and yielding to the paths and the ways that are coming back to you in a way that emotionally resonates. So Ishvara Pranidhyana is like a fancy way of saying go with the flow, but when you think of Ishvara Pranidhyana, please don't forget the other yamas and niyamas, because you really need all the yamas and the niyamas, and how do they play with each other? Did you manage to, not take from another experience, or keep your body clean, or take that disciplined approach? Like if your gym is closed that day and you didn't get to practice, then it's not saying, well, surrender to not practicing. It's to keep up everything else. Put on a video and roll out your mat at home if you need to do that. Or, generate heat a different way. Do a bike or a walk, like do something else. So just each of these are important to keep as the 10 overall yamas and niyamas. How do they work together? Giving each of them importance and not narrowing and selecting the one that you like for that day. Well, today's, niyama is going to be that I'm going to, be super clean. I'm just going to clean every little speck of dust in my house, and all other parts of your life and experience go totally out of balance. They don't work like that. It's important to see the overview of the message of the yamas and the niyamas, and that they're very adaptable to any faith, to any position in life, any vocation, all climates, all experiences, which is the beauty of this practice. I think that it is so adaptable, and it encourages you and invites you to sustain the integrity of your individuality within a larger suggested lifestyle guide too. So I hope that you are taking away the yamas and the niyamas for your own personal practice as well. And we'll also just do like a little quick review of them. So the yamas would be your disciplines, or the way that you are around other people. Ahimsa is non-violence. Satya is being truthful. Asteya is not stealing. Brahmacharya is a focused energy. Aparigraha is not hoarding or grasping. Niyamas are what you do for your body and yourself when you're on your own. Socha is being clean. Santosha is being content. Tapas is to generate heat. Svadhyaya, to study by yourself. Ishvara Pranidhyana is being connected to the cosmic energy in the form of surrender, or just that absorption into. So that's it. Hope you enjoyed. Hari Om.